Hi, everybody. Today we're going to look at an author and illustrator. And an author is a person who writes the book, and an illustrator is a person who does the pictures for it. Now, this author illustrator, he did both things. He wrote the story and he illustrated it. And that's not usual anymore. Usually it's just the author writes the book and somebody else does the pictures. Today's story is about a young boy who goes on an adventure and meets up with some really cool animals, monster kind of things. And I want you to take a good look at the way the author illustrator drew the creatures in the story, because they are done with animals that we can recognize, different types of creatures that we'll see. We'll see like a bull, maybe chicken. So take a good look at the different pieces of each of the animals or each of the creatures, and we'll go from there. Afterwards, we're going to make our own creatures, and I'm going to show you how that's done. It's very simple, and you just have to be a little creative. Okay? So hold on just a second. So the story that I'm going to read to you is called Where the Wild Things Are. And the story and pictures were by the author-illustrator Maurice Sendak. So Where the Wild Things Are, story and pictures by Maurice Sendak. Look at the creatures. Look at the different pieces. Okay. Uh-oh. Can't get the pages going. There we go. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind and another, his mother called him Wild Thing. And Max said, "I'll eat you up." So he was sent to bed without eating anything. That very night, in Max's room, a forest grew and grew and grew until his ceiling hung with vines and the walls became the world all around. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through the night and day. And in and out of weeks and almost over a year to where the wild things are. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars, and they gnashed their terrible teeth, and they rolled their terrible eyes, and showed their terrible claws. Till Max said, "Be still," and tamed them with a magic trick of staring into all their yellow eyes without blinking once, and they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all, and made him king of all the wild things. "And now," Max cried, "let the wild rumpus start." See, dancing under the moon. Swinging from vines and trees. And dancing in a parade. Here we go. "Now stop," Max said, and sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all the wild things, was lonely. and wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. Then all around, from far away, across the world, he smelled good things to eat. So he gave up being king of where the wild things are. But the wild things cried, "Oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up, we love you so." And Max said, "No." The wild things roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye and sailed back over a year and in and out of weeks and through a day and into the night of his very own room, where he found his supper waiting for him. And it was still warm. The end. Now, if we go back and we look at the wild things, we can see that there are different animals pictured with each one. Here we see some maybe alligator type feet, scales, chicken feet over here. This big bushy tail, maybe it's a fox tail, I don't know. And here is a head with two horns like a bull. And this guy over here looks kind of like a lion, but his head is wrong. Look, he's got one horn like a rhinoceros. And these guys, look at him over here. That looks like a bull head. And here we see kind of a chicken head. But you notice each one has a couple of different parts of different animals that we could identify. Even the stripes here remind us of a tiger. And here we go again. This guy almost has a human face. And these are the things that make the wild things, look, human feet. But they make the wild things pop out and say, hey, I can see different things in these. And they're really not scary. But they do have different parts of different animals. Even human features. See? Human feet. Kind of a humanish type of face here, even though he's got some big old sharp teeth hanging out. His face, without that, would look human. So our job today is to create our own wild things. And the way that we'll do that is we'll use some paper and crayons. And all we'll do is, I'm just grabbing some paper over here. Oops, that's a huge piece. But anyways, great big piece of paper. I don't want it that big. That's huge. We're going to just take that and fold it in half. So what we'll do is we'll take our paper, and let's see if I can move my camera without dropping it. Whoops, it doesn't want to stay that way. Okay, so let me get this set up, and I'll be right back. All right, so it only took me a second to get that fixed up there. It's a new little stand for me, so I'm not used to it yet. So I'm going to use some crayons. I'm just going to set them out here on the table so I can see the colors. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own wild thing. And I'm going to use a head of one animal, a body of another animal, and the feet of a third. So, I don't know where to start. Let's start with green. Why not? And what I'll do is I'm just going to make a foot down here.
let's see, maybe you'll have some claws like this. You see what I'm doing? Good. And it'll come up this way. Okay. And I'm probably going to need 2 of them. So let me make another one back here like this. There we go. There are 2 feet. And they're kind of clawed, so maybe they're like, I don't know, alligator feet maybe. So I'm going to color these in real light. I'm going to do that real quick. Okay, now I need a body. Completely different kind of animal. While I'm thinking about that, which animal I want to use, since I said these look like alligator feet, I'm going to kind of make some little C's on here. And these C's make it look like they're scales. Okay. Let me just do some over here. Okay. And I'll bring that up to the camera a little better. See how those look like scales? All right. Now, what kind of a body do I want? Let's make, let's use blue. Why not? And I'll bring this up here, make it big like this. I don't know what animal it's going to be yet. Maybe I'll go this way like this. And instead of feet, let's make a wing like this. Whoops. Oh, I pressed too hard and broke my crayon. Oh well, worse things in life have happened. So I'm going to change colors. Still kind of blue color. Oh, purple. All right, that'll work. I'm going to color this in. And if you notice, I'm trying to color it in nice and solid, even though I'm doing lightly, so that I get rid of the white on the paper. And that's going to be important here in a little bit. Okay. So there we go. There's that. Maybe I'll make some darker lines in here like this. Make it look more like feathers. Okay. And that blue that I used, I'm going to come back in and make some lines like this. Okay. Now, for the head. See how I did that? Okay. Now for the head, I want something over here, but I'm not sure what I want yet. Let's go with, I'll use gray just for this example here. And I'm going to go and make a little circle there, a circle here. And I'll go like this and like this. You see how I made those circles? They're really light. But what I'm going to do with this is curve it around here like this, up and over. Maybe I'll put in this here. It kind of looks like maybe a horse. Yeah, let's go with a horse. Why not? So I'll put the little circle here for his eye. Like that, see? Okay. And let's see, horses have a little mouth here, and then I'm going to just color him in with the gray. Like this. So we have a gray horse, a purple and blue bird, and some feet of, well, I don't know what kind of an animal that is. So there we have our wild thing. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please like and share. We're not done with this yet. I'm going to show you on my next video how to create something called a resist. And we're going to use paint and this picture and finish it off and make it so it's presentable and it's a completed picture. So by complete, I'm always talking about covering it from bottom to top and side to side, and then it's a complete picture. Remember, there's no ground here yet. So my little guy here, my little wild thing, is just floating in the air. My next video, I'll show you how to connect him to the ground and make a watercolor resist. All right, bye for now. I'll see you in a few.